This is The Gorge. It is a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a topic. And Sara, what are we talking about this week?
This week, we're back on Indie Week. I know that this schedule makes no sense anymore, but whatever. We're just kind of making it up as we go. This week on Indie Week, we're talking about The Missing, J.J. Macfield, and the Island of Memories for the Nintendo Switch, the PC, Xbox One, and PS4. I didn't know it got a Switch release.
I did not know that either, so it has hit everything. Wow.
It's on everything. Maybe the Switch release isn't even out yet, but it's apparently on the Switch or coming to the Switch, so congratulations. It's on everything now. Sweary, you did it, you beautiful bastard. You finally made it. You finally have a game that people actually want to play that isn't a nightmare to play.
Now, it is weird to do a game by Sweary for Indie Week, but this very much is an indie title. I guess,
yeah.
He is... I don't know, he went from...
an indie developer, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
He went from being I would say what's the unofficial term? Double A?
Double A,
kind
of like a Yoko Taro, double A.
Yeah, to more of a smaller scale, Kickstarter funded indie developer.
Now, The Missing wasn't Kickstarted. It was just produced by ArcSys.
Yeah, it was just put out there.
Yeah.
Because he kickstarted The Good Life. And then this came out around the same time. So we were like, wait, what? You're doing two?
You're making two games?
And this one's by who? What? Who is making what?
ArcSys. I didn't know ArcSys was in the publishing game, but it's fine. This is an interesting little title. We're gonna see how this episode goes. I was telling some friends this might be a Sarah Cry episode. Because, boy, The Missing is something special, right?
This is probably, I said before we hit record, I said that this is probably the realest The Gorge is going to get about the topic.
Yeah.
And so, I want to, get it out in the start, is that, when I finished this game, the plan was we were going to do The Missing at some point. And because we were curious about this weird sweary game and what it would mean and stuff. Yeah. And I finished it, and I texted you hey, I think we might have to find a backup because I don't know if I am equipped to talk about this subject.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's a deeply personal little game.
This handles a subject matter in a way that you would normally see it in a more metaphorical sense or a stand-in for the actual topic.
Right.
But no, it's just about that.
It is literally just about being queer and trans, baby. That's literally what The Missing is about, and it literally doesn't even remotely pull its punches. It doesn't dance around the subject. I mean, it never actually says the words, but
it's about.
It doesn't need to.
Yeah, it's about
something
that.
very explicitly about that.
And it's not. It's the thing where, it's about being transgender, it's about being queer, it's about being depressed, and about being suicidal. And that's a 4 times punch that I personally was this goes into topics that I don't deal with. I can relate to one and maybe two of those.
Yeah, of course. But it's I didn't expect it.
No, I didn't know what I expected when I was is it about depression and being suicidal because of the gameplay mechanic in it? And then it goes further than that, and it's it's about, because I thought
Because by the time I played The Missing, I knew, just because, like, okay, let's put it this way. If you're on anywhere in the LGBT plus, like, range, and, like, a game comes out and it's, like, explicitly gay, everybody you know who is also gay will be texting you, being like, you need to play this one. It always happens. It always happens. You basically, everybody in your circle of friends will inevitably hear about it, especially if it is, like, this explicitly about a subject. And so I knew going in, I was like, oh, it's about girls in love. That's cool. I like stories about girls in love. And then it was about a whole lot of other things, too. And, yeah, it was kind of an emotional gut punch, the whole ride, just from the word go, where even before you start getting into the whole the trans subject matter, you even get into, and even before, like, you really approach the whole, you know, the gay subject matter, it's even just the idea of being under pressure, that was just like, that was like step one, where you're feeling like, oh, you have all these expectations on you and you're carrying a lot of weight on your shoulders, and then you feel like you don't quite fit and there's something wrong with you, and then everybody also still has these expectations of you. And yeah, it was some pretty powerful stuff. It was not what I was expecting at all, especially for it to come out and have a happy ending. Yeah. It's not, that never happens. Ever. And it was, really, really good.
Like, it's hard for me to, like conceptualize what I want to say.
Right.
Because, like, when I finished this and I was like, oh wow, I made a tweet, like, when I finished, where I was like, boy, this game's gonna be very important to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
A lot of people are going to play this and go, oh, like, oh, I understand.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty amazing. Especially, I guess, is a good place to start. Hey, this is made by the same guy who made the really, really shitty gay guy in Deadly Premonition. So this is like, it's a start. Like, good for you, Swery. This is a start in the right direction.
Yeah.
To make up for that bullshit, because you know, I watched an LP of Deadly Premonition. I didn't play Deadly Premonition, even though I own Deadly Premonition and I need to play it. I watched an LP of it and it got to that part and I was like, man, we're really going here. Okay.
Yeah, that part was bad.
That part was bad and uncomfortable. It's like, oh, that's cool. One gay guy in town, he's really, really effete and very just like your standard, like the gay guys in Persona 5. So, you know, it's like, oh, cool. But I mean, also when you just kind of like become numb to it eventually too. You're just like, oh, great. It's another one of these stereotypes. I guess I'm just going to have to push through this to enjoy the rest of this ridiculous video game. And that was made by Swery. And this game was also made by Swery. So I don't know what happened between Deadly Premonition and now. Maybe somebody sat him down and had a talk. I don't know. I was trying to find, like, writing credits, and I guess he wrote this game, too. I guess I could have just loaded up the credits for the game, but I was in such a hassle when I was, like, getting home today that I didn't have time. And I guess he wrote this game. If he didn't, somebody tell me. But
either way, it's under his, like, under his name, so, like, he obviously had a hand in it, and something changed between now and Deadly Premonition.
It's nice. He's, you know, everybody should be following Swery on Twitter because he's just a delight. He's a sweet, innocent angel who likes to get drunk all the time, and I respect that. And yeah, he's just kind of like, yeah, I know what kind of game I wanted to make, and you know, it's like, oh, that's cool, good for you, Swery. So, yeah, it is really. amazing how overt it all is. Like, there really is no gilding the lily.
there's no other way to like I said, usually
there's
this
no
kind
other way
of
to read it. Yeah.
This kind of subject is usually handled in media in some form of metaphor, or like in a fantasy story, like it's handled in different like race or species of creature that does this, and you're like, oh, that's my representation.
Yeah.
But you don't, it's not this overt usually, and that's refreshing and a good sign of things going forward, you know?
Yeah, it's nice to, especially in a weekend where everybody, this is, what are we recording on the 29th? Going into this weekend, they got the story from the guys who directed Endgame being like, there's representation. It's literally one of the straight directors on screen talking about his husband for 3 lines. Thanks, Marvel. Yeah. And then we get into, we get to talk about The Missing, which is like, hey, yeah, this is about a trans woman, lesbian, who's in love with another girl, her childhood friend, and she's having to deal with the fact that she's not out to her mom yet, and her mom found her girl clothes in her closet, and now she just wants to kill herself because that's better than having to deal with the fallout of that. And that's pretty shocking. And I wish I had played this game sooner. I wish I had played this game when it came out and there was all the buzz around it, so I could have more people to just scream about with it. Because it is very refreshing. It's pretty amazing to be able to see something like this and have it be so on the nose, and like it is just about that. And it's like a really good moving story too, and the cool part is that it's a good moving story with a bunch of like really funny side characters too. It is such a discount version of Deadly Premonition in a way, and I love it.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. It's like you get these characters that would totally fit in the Deadly Premonition world, but they're instead on your phone.
They're just on your phone. It's like, it really is just Swery watched Twin Peaks and he can't get it out of his head, because basically The Good Life is also about a small town where weird shit happens. Mm-hmm. And like like my favorite part going through this game is just like all the setting stuff. It's just like, Swery, you just really like the Pacific Northwest. Why don't you just move here, buddy?
He really does like that corner of America a lot.
He just really, really likes Twin Peaks. And like when you got to the diner, I'm just like, oh, buddy. The
diner and the bowling alley with the arcade and the big cardboard cutout things. Yep. And it's like, and you go from the factory and from the train tracks, and it's like, oh yeah, you really like small mountain towns.
Yep. And it's, I mean, like, to me, that's the funniest part, and what makes it such a, like I said, it's Deadly Premonition writ small, is you have like a weird quirky town that's set in the Pacific Northwest. You have a bunch of strange characters with like very identifiable like personality tics to them. And they're like, everything about them kind of rotates around that. And you have a bunch of like a weird spooky shit going on. Except it's all just like on your phone. It's on an incredibly small indie scale, and I love it. I literally love it. Yeah.
the text conversations that you get are so interesting, because you can really see how, like, you can not only see like the relationships JJ has with those characters, mm-hmm. but like not only in what she says, but how she talks to them.
Yeah.
Like with the really obnoxious guy, she's very abrupt and like only kind of responding as little as possible to...
Oh, but it's so funny. Philip is like, I think my favorite conversations were with Philip, because like JJ kind of gives off this atmosphere of somebody who just kind of like nods and smiles to make her life a little bit easier. But then Philip was just like, hey, watch my YouTube videos. And she's like, no, I won't do that.
I like the one in the beginning where he's like, did you watch it? And she's like, yeah. What did you think? I thought your muscles were really big. And he's like, you didn't watch it. No, I didn't.
Yeah. I love all of... There's one that had me just, like, rolling where she was just like... he was saying something about, like, how he was gonna die, and she's like, then give me your car. And he's just like, what the fuck? I love that. I love it so much.
My favorite ones were the one with her professor.
Yeah,
because
Dr. Goodman.
I love that it's very cordial and very, professional. Macfield, you did very well in your report. Mm-hmm. And then whenever the subject leans towards something he's passionate about, like he just like drops all of the formality and he gives her like a 5-paragraph rant about Star Wars.
About the design of the droids in Star Wars. He talks about the BB series, which I'm just like, man, that's the exact moment. I mean, okay, the exact moment you know you're playing a sweary game is about 10 seconds in when the narrator is talking about some bullshit native, like a native group that doesn't exist, probably. It's how it's like, the island of memories and blah, 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 and they don't exist anymore. And it's like this really kind of disjointed sounding narrator. Mm-hmm. Like, that's when you know, it's like, oh, this is a sweary game. Okay. But then you're like for sure that this is a sweary game when you get a character just ranting about Star Wars in the middle of your puzzle horror platformer thing.
And again, not ranting about sci-fi movie.
No.
Ranting about Star Wars.
Specifically the design and function of things in Star Wars. Is so good. He even mentions like the R2s and the BBs. I'm just like, that's hysterical. Sweary, can you do that?
There's that one conversation he has with her where he's like, yeah, you need to, just a reminder that I'll be out of town this weekend. And she's like, oh yeah, you're going to Comic-Con? And he's like, how did you know that? And she's like, I had a friend who mentioned it and it's on the same weekend. And she's like, aren't you worried someone will recognize you? And he goes, oh, no one will notice. I'll be in full Boba Fett costume.
In a full Boba Fett costume.
And she just goes, what? And then the conversation ends.
Oh, it's so amazing.
And it's just like, these are the kind of characters that you get. And like, every single one of their conversations ties into helping aid, like, the reveal at the end, and helps you understand like why she is the way she is around these people that may or may not know,
Yeah, no, because like she's obviously still presenting as male, at least at school, to try and to try and make her life easier, which obviously is causing a lot of mental stress. And, because, because I knew that it was about lesbians, but,
right.
I didn't know that there was also the trans element to it as well, and the first time I kind of started going like, wait a second, is the fact that the professor refers to her as Macfield, which is not a thing professors do to female students. At least to students that they think are female. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they don't talk to us like that. Like I've never had a professor call me before. So like, that was the first time I was like, wait a second. And then I just kind of, it was like still at the back of my brain all the time. It's a very, you have all these little hints, and you're like, oh, that's why. That's what all this stress is coming from. It's the disconnect from how you see yourself and how everybody else sees you, and that whole, yeah, it was just, it's handled way better than I ever expected from a sweary game of all things.
Right? Like, it got to the point where you get the conversation with her mom where she's like, I found this dress in your closet, you know? And even then, it didn't quite click for me because I was like, there's no way they're going there. That's
right.
Not a thing that is handled in games like this. That's,
yeah.
You know,
they just don't, I mean, like, yeah, it's just the reality of the industry right now is that unless you're playing, like, an actual LGBT visual novel made by, like, LGBT people, like, it's just not a subject that's gonna get brought up in like a normal, realistic, natural way. Usually it's EA trying to get, like, you know, brownie points.
Right.
And yeah, but no, it's handled extremely well. And I didn't think about it either, but no, it's you know, it's mentioned, like, yeah, they're clothes that are way too big to be Emily's. And it's like, oh, well, it's her trying on girls' clothes and you know, doing a test run. I actually read, once I got done with the game, Heather Alexandra is a trans woman who writes for Kotaku, and, you know, she was saying in her article about The Missing, because of course she wrote something about The Missing.
Of course she did, yeah.
Of course. About how, like, yeah, she did trial runs before she was more comfortably out, about just kind of in the privacy of her own home, just trying on women's clothes and being like, yeah, this feels right. It's like, yeah, that's actually really well handled. That's incredibly well done. And yeah, the Missing does all of that extremely well. On top of being, I guess since we are here to talk about a video game,
yeah,
on top of being a pretty dang good little puzzle platformer.
For being a game that has a very weird macabre mechanic in it that is like an unexpected thing, that is kind of fun to explore with.
It's fun. There is a definite macabre kind of humor in just rolling around as a head,
doing entire like
sequences,
entire Metroid morph ball things as a disembodied head that is like making weird squishy sounds, and her hair is flopping as she somersaults around,
trundling and rolling along, bouncing on walls, getting kicked around,
doing doing puzzles that involve throw your severed arm at this moving platform to weigh it down so that you can get on it,
dragging body parts for the first time. I like the internal math. I think everybody did. The first time you get to the, it's like a balancing board, like your standard Half-Life style, you know, balancing board on an axis thing, and you need it to be perfectly straight. So you try to just leave a leg behind, but no, it needs to be half and half on both sides. So you literally have to just be like a torso crawling around on your arms, and you have to like leave your entire lower half of your body behind. I think that is hysterical. Like, it's so gruesome, but I don't know. It's like the ideal dark humor.
Now, and I one of the things is I'm kind of mad that I didn't see anyone but me make this comparison. Is that, boy, Swery made a really good modern Wario Land game. Because I don't know if you know this, one in the Wario Land 3. The gimmick is that Wario is functionally invincible.
Right.
And because he's so strong, you can do things like light him on fire to have him burn things down, or get him stabbed in the butt to have him do a dash through a wall.
God. That's awesome.
And like that's the whole gimmick of the game, and it's like, oh wow.
Swear he made a Wario Land. That's okay.
I was like, where's all the fan art of JJ and Wario being buds? Because they
hanging out.
They have the same struggles.
Oh my god. Too tough to die. It's amazing. It's so like It is the pinnacle. It's my favorite kind of just, like, pitch black humor. Of just, like, yep, my arm's off now. That's just the thing I'm gonna have to deal with. And I'm gonna chuck it across the room or leave my legs behind.
You get these points in the game where your thought process is like, okay, I have to be careful about how I get down from this ledge because I'm on fire and my limbs are brittle. But I need to be mostly intact to proceed, and if I land wrong, my legs will explode off. My favorite mechanic is getting your neck broken and the entire level inverts.
Oh my god, yes.
That's really, really good and clever, and
it's good, except I hate those monkey things. I don't like them.
Yeah, the monkeys
symbol
are...
monkeys. I don't like them.
Those are hard to, like, get around in certain points.
They give me the creeps. They just make me flash back to them in Fallout 4. I don't like symbol monkeys. I've never understood the appeal. It was
the baby doll ones that freaked me out the most, though.
Oh, the ones that dismember, they, like, drop down from, like, trees and stuff and dismember you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are pretty spooky, but you can, like, I don't know. And maybe it's just because, like, the bigness of them, of the symbol monkeys. I don't know. Things that are supposed to be small, blown up large for some reason, give me the creeps.
That's understandable.
Yeah, like giant ants and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't like you. I don't have a problem with normal ants, but big ants, I don't like big ants. I don't like big symbol monkeys. Yeah. So, and it's really interesting, just that there is some pretty good, like, fun gameplay stuff going on here in this video game that was just, like, breaking my heart every 20 minutes. I was still like, this is still pretty fun to play.
Like,
I'm still having fun.
I'm still enjoying myself a little bit.
Smile through the tears.
The cerebral aspects of this platform puzzle game are enjoyable, and also the story is directly piercing my heart in ways that I never expected a video game of this kind to do.
Yeah. It's so good. That's the problem. I feel like I could just spend like 20 minutes going, no, it's so good.
The missing is kind of like the thing where it's like, hey, can you recommend Nier Automata to your friend? Yeah, well, how would you describe it? It's an action game.
It's a puzzle platformer.
Because, like, if you're talking to your friend and you're like, oh yeah, I played The Missing, it's a puzzle game where you snap your limbs off to solve puzzles, and, like, you know, you can regenerate from anything, so, like, you do puzzles where you break your arms and legs off or you roll around as a head, and they're like, oh, that sounds hilarious and fun. It's like, yeah.
Kinda.
It
is technically hilarious and fun until it isn't.
Yeah.
So they're not wrong. I love the absurdity of the bowling ball, of the whole bowling alley, and knocking over pins as a head. I'm sorry. I'm 12. I think it's really funny.
They did a good job also, like, I like the vault boy, the vault girl in the corner that shows, like, your current status, like, what's missing, what's intact,
what's broken, it's fine. They're showing you on fire and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of really, like, cute design elements on it. I, honest to God, want every single one of those Facebook stickers.
The emojis that this game like creates are, like, the best I've ever seen. They're amazing.
Well, they're the messenger. They're the. I don't know if you use Facebook Messenger like ever, but you know, Messenger has like really absurdist stickers like that. Like, there's Business Fish. I need to send you Business Fish might actually be the title card of this episode, because
you're gonna have to send me that then, because I don't have that one.
I'm gonna send you Business Fish. But yeah, no, there's a bunch of really funny sticker sets in Facebook Messenger, and I mean, like, my friends and I, it's you know, it's the little things, it's those little details, because my friends and I spam those stickers at each other all the time in Messenger. So it's just, I love all of JJ's why are there rude donut stickers.
I love that she most uses the hot dog, the yap 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 hot dog.
Yes.
They're just the funniest little things.
There's a fuck you donut. I love him. I love all of them. They're all really funny. I like that everybody has their own specific animal except for like the professor. Obviously, like Abby is a squirrel, and Philip is a lion, and Lily is a cat, and then kind of presciently, Emily uses moose, and the doctor that is constantly speaking, like babbling at you about like resuscitating you, is a moose. I like that. That's a good little detail. That's cool. You know, the little babble, and also the babbling moose is the narrator and the EMT that's reviving JJ at the end of the game. It's all the same voice.
That's one thing I will give Swery a lot of credit for, is that he's very good at introducing these weird, bizarre things. These, like, you know, the good old Swery charm of like, look at this weird thing, and then at the end it's like, that weird thing meant something, actually.
Yeah! I love, I don't know what they did to get the, like, the weirdness of how, like, Emily in JJ's dream and the moose sound. Like, that's such a... It almost sounds like they're playing the lines backward.
It actually does sound like they're doing the Twin Peaks thing, where they record a line normally, they record it backwards, and then they play it backwards, and then the actor recites the backwards version of it, and then they reverse that version.
That's probably what they're doing.
It sounds a lot like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a Twin Peaks thing.
Swery
has watched...
Really
No, he never has. He never watched Twin Peaks. He doesn't know what a Twin Peaks
is. He's such a liar.
Have you ever seen...
It's not right to lie like that. You'll go to hell.
Have you ever seen a harder lie than Swery65 saying, no, I've never watched Twin Peaks?
Yeah, dude. I'm sure you've never, ever seen Twin Peaks before in your life, with all of these really blatant Twin Peaks references in all of your games. I can't wait for The Good Life, because The Good Life is ostensibly set in England. I funded that. Okay, The Good Life is the only game I have ever put money toward on Kickstarter. Literally ever. And I feel like after playing this game, I'm like, yes, that was a great investment if it ever comes out.
I mean, I just got an update like 2 days ago about it, so...
Me too. Yeah, so it'll probably happen. But the thing is that The Good Life is ostensibly set in England. So, like, what is Swery gonna do? He won't be able to make small town America jokes because he set this game in England. Did he do it on purpose so he can't keep relying on that? Or is there just going to inexplicably be an American diner in rural England?
Yeah, they're going to do the thing where it's like when a Japanese anime is set in America, and like you still have a character that's like, oh yeah, that's... The character's like, how much does that cost? Oh yeah, that's about 10,000 yen.
Yeah.
That converts to 10,000 yen. It's like, wait, but you're American. Why are you doing that conversion?
Or like... Okay, here's another thing I was thinking of. This is such a nitpicky thing, but whatever. It's better than me crying. Swery, have you ever been in an American college, buddy? You do know we don't have lockers, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I like, when I watched that, I didn't know if that was supposed to be like a flashback to JJ in high school, and then moving to college.
But it starts in college, like the classroom where JJ drops into
is the auditorium, the college auditorium.
And then she walks into a hallway that's full of lockers. And it's like... And they haven't mentioned high school the whole game. There's no mention of high school, like, at all.
No, like, yeah, like, it's all set in college. But,
yeah.
like, that's what I internalized it as because I was too busy thinking about everything else that was happening in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of other emotional things too. But here I am, like an idiot, like playing this game, and I'm having like a meltdown at this point. I'm crying. I'm trying to like actually move the character forward. It's very ugly. And literally in the middle of all of this, JJ's like slouching forward like a zombie. And I'm sitting here like, swear I know there aren't lockers in American colleges.
I mean, I bet it's one of those things where it's like, I need shorthand to show that this is happening in school.
Yeah.
And like, if she was just walking down like a hallway. It's like, that wouldn't tie in. You need like the element. But that doesn't happen that way.
I know, and I shouldn't nitpick, but literally, it's like it stood out so hard in my brain because I've never seen like even like anything that even kind of looks like a locker in college, you know?
I guess it's like when you are in like a weird emotional state, your brain fixates on something weird to like cope in a way.
To like deal with my feelings. I'm just like, there aren't lockers in college, Sweary. What are you doing? And then I cried some more, and it was great. I felt good after I got done playing it. I mean, it had a happy end. Shit, it had a happy ending.
Yeah.
Which is better than a lot of stuff can say. And it was like a really nice, emotional, happy ending. Like, hey, everything's gonna be okay. You're only 19. It's not the end of the world. It's really good. It's a nice, happy ending. It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful the whole way through.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it's affirming, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like, I don't know. Again, it's hard for me to, like, give my perspective.
Right, yeah, but I mean, it's still also, like, a love story, and you like love stories.
No, I do, but I mean, like, what I was leading into a point I had where it's, like, I guess, like, as far as I can tell, like, it's not necessarily a coming out story.
Right.
But it still has a happy ending, and I guess, like, those two things, I don't know if those two things normally when you see this kind of media presented, like, by ostensibly a straight man, I don't know for sure. Considering the message of this game, I can't explicitly say for sure what Sweary is, but ostensibly a straight man would write this as a more trying to do a coming out story,
but
and then it's not.
It's good because like that's like not really a story that like I would think a straight person could write effectively. So instead, it's more like a story of coming to terms with yourself and being okay with yourself, and then being like, well, whatever happens next, but like I actually have a for real support structure, and like, you know, people who care about me.
But that's what I mean. Like he went this route when, again, we were talking about the MCU. Like, it's not performative the way Sweary's doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
No. It's
like,
very much just about this one thing.
It's not only about this topic, but it's also not like it's presented in such a more real way of like, it's not perfect, but it's better, and you know, it goes into the intricacies of what it involves, you know, and how to come to terms with your identity and stuff.
And it's not like, how to put this in the right way. It's not saying like this is, you know, they wasn't marketed as like, hey, this is the gay game. It's just like a video game that is also about gay people. It's about a trans lesbian who's just trying to get by in the world, and it's like, hey, if you bought this game because you wanted like a puzzle platformer and you weren't expecting all the queer elements and you don't like that, nobody cares. There's no warning because it shouldn't bother you.
Right.
And if it does, then the onus falls on you to, I don't care if you want to return it or not. Like, it's not... And the cool thing is that this game is sitting at an overwhelmingly positive on Steam, so I guess occasionally things can go right in the world.
Well, one of the things, like, I was kind of, like, coming off of this, where I was like, boy, that was really, really, like, incredible and deep and everything, and, like, wow, I'm so glad this kind of media exists in a world like today where it's needed. And then I was like, wait, am I, like, was this cool? Like, you know, you ever get those things where you're like, is this cool? Is this, did they do this right? Like, hey.
No, they did it very right. Yeah, that's like really what shocks me the most about this, is it's like, there were so many times in this game where it could have gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Like, at any time it could have been written in a way to be like that JJ is a freak and she's not, or that there's anything wrong with her, or, I mean, it could have ended in bury your gaze, which, I mean, I know it's not cool to recite tropes anymore, but whatever. Everybody knows what bury your gaze means.
They're tools and they exist for a reason, and it's
they're tools
good
and they
to use
exist
them.
for a reason, and blah blah blah, and you know, it could have ended in, like, an actual, like, hey, we'll kill ourselves and be happy, but no, it didn't. And it frames all the right people as the bad people. It's like, this is, and, you know, it is a more complicated thing it's not just like, oh, my mom is a bad person, even though she's doing a bad thing. It's because, like, at the end, you know, JJ still loves her mom. And it's kind of like, hey, I just want you to understand me, and eventually, maybe you will and maybe you won't. If you don't, then I have my own support structure, and I don't necessarily need your acceptance. And it's just really well done. It's bizarrely well done, all things considered, you know?
Right. Yeah, because I'm like, is the fact that it's a twist, like, does that, like...
But it's not even really a twist.
It's
because,
not.
like I said, for one, the fact that JJ is a lesbian is out in the open from the first couple minutes of the game.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, that's obvious.
You have to be intentionally, maliciously obtuse to think that this is not a love story between JJ and Emily. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, the game frames it from the word go. Like, hey, this is about how much JJ loves Emily and how much JJ hates herself. And the fact that it turns out and it's like is also a story about being a trans lesbian with a parent who is not accepting of, like, queer lifestyles is, I mean, it's still... The cool thing is that it is... Like I said, there's the Macfield thing, which never happens. But then there's also all these other little things where it's like, you know, you see Abby being like, yeah, it really pissed me off that somebody thought that my friend was lesbian, and there's nothing wrong with being a lesbian, and I don't like that you're framing it that way, but it's like you're talking to somebody who isn't out to you yet as a woman. And there's all these other little things, like Philip wouldn't talk to a girl like that, you know?
Yeah.
To somebody who he thought was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's all right there out in the open. That's the cool thing. And it's just like, if you think about it for more, and then it eventually, you know, it just tells you. It doesn't, like... beat around the bush and isn't coy about it. It's like, yeah, this is how JJ is, and she's still coming to terms with it.
And you know, it's funny though, because, like, you're bringing up these things where it's like, oh yeah, Philip wouldn't talk to who he thinks is a girl like that, and Dr. Goodman wouldn't talk to a female student of his like that, and I'm over here like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're a dude. You have no idea. And it's like, that's not really your fault. But it is very much like, dudes don't even realize, like, a professor has never once in my life called me by my last name. A guy like Philip would not be that casual talking to me in text messages, and wouldn't talk about like ex-girlfriends and what a nag she is and stuff like that. Just all these little things, and it's like, oh yeah, no dude has ever talked to me like that. They talk to me in different ways, you know? It's really interesting. Yeah, I guess that's true. You wouldn't really even think about that.
Yeah, and that's like one of those things where it's like, again, that serves as how well this game was written, because, yeah, I didn't know that, and I'm sure a lot of people, like, a lot of guys like me who play this game also didn't know that, and, like, it's one of those things where, like, that's not even, like, a big deal. That's just how it is, and those are hints that you could pick up on, or someone else in a different situation could pick up on, but or you could not.
yeah. That those are huge hints for me, being like, oh wait, no, not everything is as what it seems around here. Yeah, I like that. This game is extraordinarily well made. Pretty much in every aspect, which is just amazing. So, and I'm glad it seems to have sold well. It's been received extremely well. Just, yeah. Boy, the missing is really good. The missing is really, really good.
It's one of those things where, like, the way I was feeling like before I got to the end, I was playing it and I'm like, boy, this gameplay mechanic is really fun and interesting and could be explored in different ways. And then I'm like, boy, that title is very indicative of, like, a serialized adventure. Mm-hmm. You know, The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the...
Yeah.
You know? And it's like,
right.
oh boy, is this going to be, like, chapter 1 of a thing? No, okay.
No.
It's going in a different direction. That's better, fine, and better.
Better,
like,
and... Yeah, no, it's, You know, and the funny thing is that even if, you know... There is something here that anybody can kind of relate to. Because, I mean, like, I don't understand, or I guess I should say that I can't... I'm not trans. I'm cis. That's how mm-hmm. It should just be phrased. Like, straight up. You know? But anybody can understand cracking under the pressure of parental expectations and, like, the misery that comes with it, and the feeling of not belonging. Like, those are universal things, and that's what speaks to the strength of this game, is that there's a lot... There's just a lot you can really just understand about JJ. And I really like that. Oh, and that's the other thing that was, like, a huge tip-off to me, that JJ was trans and just wasn't out to her mom yet, is the fact they kept talking about how JJ is the Macfield heir. Yeah, no, people don't talk to girls like that either.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about a girl being an heir. Like, we're not heirs. We're just not, you know? We don't get to keep our name. So, yeah, that was the other thing that was just going like, something else is going on here, Swery. I see you, Swery. So, yeah.
And like, the other thing I noticed, like, or I thought was really interesting, is that the game, like, what's this game about, and then how it phrases what it's about at the end, where it's like, mechanically, like, this is a game where you dismember yourself and you throw your limbs at puzzles and you roll around as a head. And then you get that last conversation with FK, and it's like, this is a story about JJ's rebirth, and you're like, this
regeneration,
This game is about dismembering as much as it is about regenerating and putting yourself back together.
Yeah, you break apart at your, like, lowest moment, and then you put yourself back together, and then you get the great sequence where you're running away from the thing. That thing has a name, and I don't remember what its name is, and I was literally just looking at it, like a few minutes ago when I was doing a reread to kind of refresh my brain. Nope, don't remember it. But the final monster thing, you're running away from it, and one of the coolest parts is that as you're running away from it, you can just instantly regenerate, because, like, JJ even says, like, oh, you just have to push through the pain. It's like, you can get over that. It doesn't have to, it doesn't have to hurt the way it hurt before. Like, the hurt gets better over time.
And
it hurts less, and you can kind of like shrug it off and not let it stop you, which is great.
You get these great moments in that thing where instead of running from this thing, from being confused, JJ goes from like, going, what the hell? Or like, get away from me, to baiting the monster to uppercut you so that you can go higher than it and get on the next platform and stuff.
Yeah. And hey, Swery, I see you. I love that anime-ass finisher move, that Devil May Cry fucking bullshit that JJ uses on that monster at the very end, where it like kicks her up into the air, and then she does like a fucking drop with a spear into it. I see you, Swery. I love that anime shit. I really felt it. That's Kino right there. Getting
struck by lightning in midair and then carrying the lightning in the lightning rod as you stab it in the chest. And it's
like with a spear, it's like a huge... Yeah, that's the definition of Kino right there, y'all.
That's Kino shit.
That shit's raw. Okay? So that is the somebody was on Twitter the other day like, what's the difference between Kino and raw? It can be both. That moment was both Kino and raw.
There's overlap. Kino is like a really well written moment, and raw is when it's really cool.
It's hardcore. Kino is just like I said, Kino is a measure of quality. Raw is a measure of how hardcore something is.
Yeah.
And sometimes that shit can converge, and that was that moment. I see you, Swery. I loved it.
Because
it was great.
It's metaphorical, because the lightning is the electro paddles that are reviving her, and
oh my
it's
God.
symbolisms.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just having so many emotions. Just trying to. I can't see. This is the thing. So this and Celeste, it's like we need you to puzzle through your tears. I'm like, I can't. I don't know how. Don't you understand? I'm a huge crybaby. I was horrible. My God.
It's like those things where I think we're talking like the beginning of last year, where we're like, okay, we get it. There's enough indie games about being depressed in your 20s, but also like when they're as good as Celeste and JJ and they have like this much in them, it's like, oh yeah, no, this actually is really good, and
this is actually fine. I don't mind. Turns out
it's totally affirming to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, and
it's totally fine. I spent so much time in this game, man. You thought like the bar used to be the end of Act 2 in Berseria, which was at one point the hardest I've ever cried while playing a video game. Like, that was the meme, like, what the fuck are you crying at? Now it is the missing. Like, that is... The missing has overcome that hurdle, where it was just like... like, gross tears. Yeah, so that's cool. But I love it. No, it's very affirming. It's very cleansing. Sometimes it's good to just get out a good cry, because you feel seen. That's nice. It's not like a sad cry. It's like a happy cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes happy crying really, really hard is good for your soul, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's good for you to get those emotions out. Like, literally, it is good, because crying is how you flush out the chemicals in your brain that are making you feel things. And, like, I loved learning that fact, because that's just, like, the best thing to know for me about, like, why you cry.
Yeah.
So whenever
you
like, you have to let yourself cry, because otherwise your brain will not flush out whatever you're feeling.
Right. Huh, that's nice. I didn't know that, actually. That's good. Look at you, teaching me a thing in the middle of the podcast. I'm getting educated. I'm all teary-eyed even while we're talking. I've literally just been doing, like, the Southern girl, just blotting at the tears thing the whole time we're talking. Yeah, it's just good to feel seen. Everybody's like, representation. Sometimes you're just like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean when somebody says, like, representation matters? Like, what is that? Like, like, because it's like a catchphrase now, and it's a good catchphrase. It is. Yeah, it's a good buzz phrase to kind of get out there. But also, it's like really, what does that mean to individuals?
Like, sometimes that phrase, because like the game opens with a message that's like, this is a game for anyone who however, like, it's whoever feels the way they are, or like, this game is for people who feel a certain way, about themselves, or trying to come to terms with who they are. And like, whenever you see that message or you get that everyone matters message, it's not always maliciously, but sometimes there is the message of, well, not those people.
Right.
And usually that's because, you aren't seeing that type of person reflected in the media. Whether it's a race, a gender, sexuality, it's like everyone matters, but you're not seeing a group. It's been left out.
Right.
And so you get a game that's this, and it's like, oh, you meant it this time.
Yeah. It's very, this is what they're talking about when it's like, hey, like that feeling of just like being seen and somebody actually, I don't know if Sara Swery just like sat down and talked to people or what, but it definitely feels like it. Feels like he probably had some conversations with people to try and figure out how to write this extremely emotional game about like gender and sexuality and identity and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's great. It's like genuinely great. Good for you, Swery. I'm excited for the good life now.
Yeah, this is affirming.
I'm extremely excited for the good life now.
I'm so happy that he got that. Like,
oh my god, yeah, I had to.
Like, especially after where was it?
The GoFundMe failed.
It was the other one. It was the one where it's like for like only devs can be like only professional devs can be on it. Like it was like one that was developed by the guys that...
Oh, the Psychonauts guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was that called?
It's like Fig or something like that?
Fig. That's it, Fig.
Is it? It is, right?
Yeah, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is one for like industry professionals to go on, and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't have an established community like Kickstarter does, and
yeah.
How are you...
the GoFundMe failed, and he couldn't get it onto Fig. And so, like, the Kickstarter really was, like, the last chance to get the Good Life funded. And it's like everybody on the internet was just, like, really, really pushing to get this one did. Like, and it was great.
I created a Fig account to give to Fig, and then my money got refunded because it failed, but then I'm like, oh, I'm going to put that money towards Kickstarter, and then... And then I had credit card problems... because they're like
Japan.
Yeah, it's like, hey, are you sending money to Japan? And I'm like, please process this. I had to like talk to someone on my lunch break at work. I'm like, God. Please give this man my money. I want you to do this. Please this.
I need you to do this.
Please. It's very important to me personally.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see the good. It's the only time I've ever kickstarted anything. Probably the only time I ever will kickstart anything, because it's just not for me a way I want to use my money. But this one time, wait, no, that's not true. I also gave to Dungeon Boyfriend. So, but that's different. That's for a whole other niche of my personality. We're doing an episode on that too. Don't you fucking wait.
We're absolutely talk about Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah, once that game comes out, fuck yeah, we're talking about that. But yeah, no, I love The Missing. The Missing has me full of hope for the good life. I swear 65 has gone a long way since a terrible, terrible stereotype and deadly premonition. It's a good start. So we'll see how the good life goes after this. But either way, The Missing is extremely special. You're right. It is a game I'll probably be thinking about for a long time after this.
I'm really glad that this game exists and it's being spread around positively like that. And like you said, in groups that you are, in social groups that you go to, and it's like, people are talking about this game and spreading it around. It's like, that's really good to have this thing here.
Yeah,
it's the thing where like it's about this subject matter, and I've seen this a lot on like Tumblr and stuff, and Twitter and stuff, where it's just like, we want queer protagonists and trans protagonists that are just in things.
Yeah.
And it's like this feels like a good step in that direction, because this is a queer trans character in a body horror puzzle platformer.
Yeah. It's good.
And it's
really good.
And
it's really, really good. It's just like it's like I said, JJ is the way she is, and it's just treated as like a fact and as normal, and there's nothing, like, she's not anywhere in the wrong. She's just her beautiful gay self, and like the game is just saying like, hey, this is normal and this is the way it should be, and you know, if you have a problem, then that's on you. I like that. Makes me happy. I love this game.
Two more quick things for like we get to the end. Is that like, one, I love that Swery is like constantly retweeting fan art on Twitter.
Swery loves his fans. It's beautiful.
If you tag the missing and like you're like, I love this game, like he'll retweet you.
He's great, yeah.
He's so happy to see like fan art, and people are like, oh my god, this game means so much to me, and like it's so nice.
He's probably just so happy to have a game that didn't flop.
I mean, that might be it too.
It's also a huge part of it. It's Yoko Taro syndrome, where it's like, oh god, people are finally realizing.
Like I wanna say that he's happy because it's a game about good representation, and he's happy that all these people
absolutely.
are
It's been very
taking,
meaningful to a lot of people.
Yeah, but also it's probably because he's happy that it succeeded.
Yeah. The Missing did well. It's reviewed well. People love it. It's sold well, and that has to be, affirming for him after a lot of failures. Like, what was that one game that you were really into? It was in a diner again. What was that game, Ben? Swery. What was your other game?
See, you're saying this is like the ultimate evidence, because you're saying what was the one that you were into?
Dark Dreams Don't Die.
Dark Dreams Don't. Yeah, that one where it's like he had this really good idea for a thing, and it had a really cool art style, and it was really unique, and it was free on Xbox, and then no,
it failed.
It can't. He couldn't finish it, and it's like,
no.
Man!
He
left it on a cliffhanger, and it's like,
yeah. So it's probably just nice to have something succeed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then the other thing is, speaking of Swery's style, I love how bad the voice acting is.
Honest to God, I was reading reviews for this game, and a lot of people were like, the voice acting's really bad. I'm like, that's the point.
Yeah, I love how fake JJ sounds when she's like, hello.
Yeah,
Emily, where are you?
Like she's on a soundstage for like a TV show or something.
Yeah, and
which is totally intentional.
Yeah, oh yeah, because also you get those things where like it's the backwards talk, and it's like, oh no, he knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
And the dialogue and the text messages and stuff is so realistic and well written that no, it's not a problem. It's not a problem with voice direction. They were told to do it like this.
Yeah, it was 100% intentional. It's the same thing with Silent Hill 2, where like part of the weirdness factor is that everybody sounds just a little bit off, and everybody doesn't sound like a people, and it creates that kind of weird dissonance between like what's on screen and what you're hearing, and it's meant to creep you out. That's the whole point. It's the voice acting sucks for a reason. So, and obviously, like you still pick up on moments where it's obvious that JJ's voice actress can act, because she does really good agonized screaming. It makes me really uncomfortable sometimes. When you're on fire, I'm like, ugh.
I like the mechanics of being on fire and like having to navigate with a very like vulnerable state, like a very fragile thing where it's like, oh, I have to be careful. I can't just run around and jump anymore. But also like the act of lighting yourself on fire, I'm like, I don't like that sound.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
Okay, so it reminds me of, this is another weird thing.
Okay.
So the Mario soccer game is the most hardcore sports game you'll ever play ever.
Okay.
Go look. When we're done here, I'm gonna link you to the intro video for the Mario Strikers.
I've seen the intro video for Mario Strikers. Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
It's baller.
So baller. One of the things is the field is covered in surrounded by an electric fence, and you can tackle players into the fence.
Right.
And, like, all the other characters do, like, a weird, like, warbling, you know, like, la 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 when they get struck.
Right.
But Peach lets out this blood-curdling scream.
Oh, no!
It's like,
oh, no!
It's, like, the most painful, like, shrill shrieking you'll ever hear.
Oh,
and
no.
It's like, when I was playing The Missing, I was like, oh my god, I'm getting flashbacks to how uncomfortable that made me feel.
That's proof that JJ's voice actress obviously knows how to, like, act, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, it was intentional. It's all part of the plan to make it feel like a weird TV show, because, again, Swery has watched a lot of Twin Peaks. Don't let that man lie to you. Don't let that man lie to you. He has seen There's probably nobody on Earth other than David Lynch who's watched Twin Peaks as much as Swery65. Okay?
Todd Howard can never lie harder than that.
Yeah, no, Todd Howard wishes he could tell a lie that well.
Then Swery, I've never watched Twin Peaks 65.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my man. Nobody believes you. So, yeah.
Boy, God, go play The Missing. Go.
I'm just beaming.
Beaming. Go spread the word to people who might need to hear about this game.
Yeah, that's good. It's great. And it's on sale right now. It's only for some reason it's $19.79 on Steam right now. I just looked that up. So, it's on sale. You should go play it. It's really good. It's really, really good. So, it's not too long. It's a good reason to get it while it's on sale right now. You get anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, depending on how smart you are.
It took me a while. There was one puzzle. You know the train?
Yes.
It took me forever to realize, what if I threw multiple coal pieces into the thing?
Oh, no.
Because I'm, like, wandering around. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, the train, the coal bin lights me on fire. Okay, so do I have to be on fire and, like, work my way over here and then maybe break my legs and I can crawl under? Okay, no, that doesn't work. And, again, you walk so slow when you're on fire. I'm just like...
Yeah.
Oh,
the one thing I had the hardest time with, and it's really because I have a hard time with, like, spatial stuff sometimes, the puzzles where it does flip the room upside down, those really mess with me, because I don't know, once you flip a room upside down, I start having a hard time being like, wait, where did I come from and where am I going? Mm-hmm. So that kind of messed with my head a little bit, but other than that, you know, the rest of them are pretty straightforward. Like, they're not too hard, they're just enough to you have to kind of stop and go like, oh, okay. But, yeah, no, it's a good little puzzle game. It's just smart, and I'm excited for the good life. So yeah, play The Missing.
Go play it. It's very good.
Okay, we good?
I think so, yeah. So that'll do it for us. Thank you to Broke Free for use of background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. And if you want more queer content, you should listen to Sarah's other podcast.
Hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds. Wow, that's amazing, right? Where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games. Right now, what did we just get done playing? We did a one-shot with Lasers and Feelings, which is like a really fun little one-page system. That it's made to just be picked up and played in like a night. It's kind of like a Star Trek type of game. You should come check it out. It's a lot of fun. We try out all kinds of different systems. Sometimes we have like a long-running game in the background. Yeah, we're at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud. You can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks!
All right, that'll do it for us.
Really, fuck those monkeys. I mean, there's like, I have a lot of positive feelings about this game. But I do genuinely hate symbol monkeys, like, a lot. I don't like any kind of, like molded monkey, you know, like a monkey toy. Like, real monkeys are really cute, but, like, monkey toys give me the... Okay, this is, like, a huge non sequitur, but whatever. This is kind of what this end half of this podcast has been about. My mom, when she was a kid, she had one of those stuffed monkeys named Jojo. Yeah, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. No, not named like that, but his name was Jojo. And you can Google them. They're like stuffed monkeys, but they have plastic faces. And she loved Jojo. Yeah.
Those are the worst. They're so hideous.
They're hideous. And my mom loved this fucking monkey. And I cannot understand it for the life of me, because every time I think about it, I'm like, ugh. Like, my grandma would have to, like, walk in and see, like, her adorable baby daughter, like, hugging this creepy-ass plastic monkey while she slept. No, horrible.
Ugh, no.
I heard, Mom told me that, like, JoJo got eaten by a dog or something like that. I'm like, did my grandma throw that monkey to the dog?
That dog's a hero.
That dog's a hero. Anyways, I don't like those monkeys. Fuck those guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.